Leon stared blankly at Roswitha and silently said in his heart, "My favorite clothes are combined with my least favorite creatures. This is really exciting." He seems to be very satisfied with the attire of Roswitha. At this moment, Roswitha noticed something glowing around her. She lowered her head slightly and noticed that the dragon mark on her chest was emitting a dazzling purple light. It seems to be expressing her current mood. Noticing that Leon had been staring at her all along, Roswitha felt the temperature on her face getting higher and higher. She turned her head and awkwardly placed her hand next to her mouth. She stammered out her question to him. Have you seen enough?" Seeing Roswitha's reaction at this moment, Leon found it very interesting. He silently said in his heart, "The more shyer she is, the more excited she makes me." Leon smiled and replied to Roswitha, "Of course not. Don't we still have things to do?" He quickly walked up to a cabinet and opened the drawer, searching for something inside. Roswitha realized that things were going in a bad direction, but she didn't have the right to stop Leon from continuing to do what he wanted to do. A hint of panic appeared on her face. She frowned slightly and nervously asked Leon, "Is there anything else to do?" Leon took out the black teaching whip that Roswitha had used last time from the drawer and slowly walked towards Roswitha. He lightly tapped his palm with a teaching whip, as if giving a silent reminder to Roswitha. He gave her a wicked smile and said to her, "Malkivi, please sit down obediently. Let's start the class. Now, let me talk about the homework you need to complete tonight." Leon used the teaching whip in his hand to strike his palm hard a few times, as if to inform Roswitha that they were going to do something formal next. Outside the window, moonlight quietly shone into Roswitha's room, as if wanting to sneak a peek at what they were doing. The dim light in the room silently illuminated the room, as if guarding a secret that no one else would know, except for Leon and Roswitha. Upon hearing what Leon said, which was very similar to what she had said last time, Roswitha realized that Leon's true intention was not just to make her wear bunny clothes. He has another purpose. This guy is retaliating against me for teaching him last time. She lifted her head and looked at him with a dissatisfied expression. She didn't realize what he really wanted to do in time, which made her very angry. Leon shook his teaching whip and walked back and forth in front of Roswitha. He told her the homework she needed to complete tonight. Follow the me to recite the Dragon Slayer's 3 honors and 3 shamas until you have memorized it. This is a creed that every proud dragon slayer is familiar with. At this point, Roswitha had doubts about the homework assigned by Leon. She slowly raised her right hand. She frowned slightly and said to Leon, "Mr. Leon, but I am a dragon, not a dragon slayer." She didn't understand why Leon wanted her to do such a thing. Upon hearing Roswitha's words, Leon's expression became serious. He quickly approached Roswitha and gently lifted her chin with a teaching whip, forcing her to look straight into his eyes. He said to her with a dissatisfied tone, "Mind your attitude. Malkivi, whatever I ask you to do it obediently. Do you know?" Roswitha was somewhat annoyed by Leon's arrogance. She shot him a displeased look and gritted her teeth indignantly. However, Roswitha also dared not easily throw a tantrum at Leon. She had to make an effort to suppress her inner anger. She looked aside and answered Leon softly. "I know, Mr. Leon." After hearing Roswitha's answer, Leon took a few steps back and kept his distance from her. He placed his hands behind him and continued to leisurely walk back and forth in front of her. He gently shook his teaching whip while telling her about the Dragon Slayer's 3 honors and 3 shamas. The first rule is proud of being loyal to the Empire, ashamed of colluding with the Dragon clan. Although Roswitha was reluctant to say such content, she still spoke along with Leon. Proud of being loyal to the Empire, ashamed of colluding with the Dragon clan. Perhaps because this kind of content is too shameful for her, her voice is getting lower and lower. Suddenly, Leon used his teaching whip to strike Roswitha's buttocks forcefully. The teaching whip touched her thigh and made a loud noise. "Ah!" Roswitha tightly closed her eyes and lifted her head, letting out a moan. She was puzzled by Leon's behavior. She doesn't know where she went wrong. She turned her head to look at him and asked him, "Why did you hit me? I don't say anything wrong about the content." Leon gently shook his teaching whip and looked at Roswitha with serious eyes. He pointed out what mistake she had just made. "The voice is too low. Read it out loud. Once again." Upon hearing Leon's words, Roswitha became even angrier than before. "You!" She was very dissatisfied with Leon's arrogance and demands. Her eyes blazed with fury, like a thunderstorm brewing in rolling dark clouds. She gritted her teeth tightly, as if she would jump up and punch Leon in the face fiercely in the next second. She was almost unable to suppress her inner anger. For the sake of her photo, Roswitha had to risk everything. She closed her eyes and suppressed her sense of shame, shouting out those words. Proud of being loyal to the Empire, ashamed of colluding with the Dragon clan. Upon hearing Roswitha's voice much louder than before, Leon felt very happy. He smiled at her and praised her. "Haha, that's great. Keep reading." Roswitha tried to suppress her anger and gave Leon a fierce glance. She furrowed her brow and cursed inwardly. "Damn Dragon Slayer, you'd better hope not to be caught by me. I'm going to make you pay tenfold." Under Leon's careful education, Roswitha diligently studied the content of Dragon Slayer's 3 honors and 3 shamas and worked hard to remember it. Soon, the clock on the wall showed that it was already 8 o'clock. The sound of Roswitha reciting and Leon whipping Roswitha gradually stopped. Leon is very satisfied with Roswitha's diligent study. He praised her. "Malkivi, you're very smart. You are now proficient in reciting the Dragon Slayer's 3 honors and 3 shamas." Roswitha felt speechless about Leon's unreasonable demands. She said to him with a slightly angry tone, "Thank you for Mr. Leon's praise." At this moment, Roswitha turned her head and noticed the time on the clock. She thought for a while and then came up with an idea. She pointed to the clock and said to Leon with a pitiful expression, "Mr. Leon, is it time to end the class now?" She wanted to take this opportunity to stop Leon from continuing his classes. Leon turned his head and glanced at the time on the clock. He nodded lightly and then said to Roswitha, It's indeed time for class to end." However, Leon did not end tonight's course, as Roswitha had imagined. He stood in front of Roswitha and took off his shirt. Roswitha stared blankly at Leon and showed a puzzled expression. She felt a bit strange about his behavior. At this moment, what she didn't know was that she would be facing an even more intense and exciting experiential practice class next. Leon turned his head to look at Roswitha and said what subject they were going to learn next. Next, it's time for a cultural appreciation class.
Hi! Pineapple has a good news to tell you. My app Lullaby can now be downloaded on the App Store and Google Play. You can search for Lullaby Light Novel in the search bar to find the app. After downloading the app, you can read our exclusive novels and comics more easily on your mobile phone. If you are interested, you can download Lullaby from the App Store and Google Play.